to be.
Okay.
And what are the, how do we direct the right resources there? So I don't think of it in terms of us developing the program. That's clearly not our role. We don't have that expertise, but we have control over the resources.
Okay, okay.
So that's the way I look at it.
All right, that's good clarification, thanks.
Mr. Walker.
The only thing I would add to that is that I agree, and I would expect that the superintendent would propose a program and a strategy that includes both the overarching strategy, the resource needs, and all of the other things that might go with that. And we say, yes, we agree, yes, we agree with this, no, we don't. But
Ms. Bagley-Jones.
To me, from a school committee point of view, if I look at the other page where it says develop a comprehensive plan for all students in grades K, blah, 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 to me, when I look at the issues that we've had around special education issues and parents in that community who have felt, I would look at it more as not around programs and resources, but around what are we doing to have an inclusive approach. Just like we all agree that we really want free full-day kindergarten as a tangible issue, we all would agree, I assume, that we want inclusionary practices to really benefit our community. So that doesn't really say that for me, and so in retrospect, thinking about this, I want the special education community, folks who have children in that community, to feel like they are a part of the rest of the educational community. To me, that's what that goal is, but I don't know how to say it or wordsmith it.
Right. Yeah,
Versus proficiency gap. We're working on that with
Yeah.
programs and resources.
Yeah, I have to say, I think that's a different goal than the one that we discussed, and it doesn't mean we can't discuss it, but I think it is different. So I would like to try to keep on this one, and then if people want to suggest additional ones, we can certainly do that. So I believe we have a motion on the table that's been made and seconded with respect to this goal. So any further discussion? Ms. Varela.
I have one final thing, I'm sorry. But do you think we should make it June 2016 instead of January? That's my only...
I think we said June 20.
Oh, you
said
did? I'm
June.
sorry. I
Maybe I
apologize.
misspoke, but I believe
Okay, yeah.
it was intended to be June 2016.
Sorry, I
No,
apologize.
that's fine. All right, so we have a motion on the table that's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. All right. And that, thankfully, is the end of the report of the chair.
So, not yet.
All right.
So the thought I had, since we also talked about the importance of the second page and maintaining a focus on those, was that if we could incorporate the 2 pages and simply make the heading Milton School Committee District 2014 to 2016 goals. Because I think we acknowledge that on the page 2 goals, there's still some work to be done, some of which will be completed hopefully by year end, but some of which won't.
So the only thing that I would say on that is that, you know, if you're a strict constructionist and you look at the policy says each school committee each year develops its goals. And so that doesn't mean we can't say, well, we have devoted the same amount of time and energy and review as did last year's school committee to these 7 goals, and we think that those should be continuing goals. It doesn't mean we can't do that. I don't know that this school committee has done that, and so I would be hesitant to do that. I think it accurately captures that these are school committee goals from 2015, 14, and 15 that were intended to be ongoing and are ongoing. And, you know, we could indicate, as Kevin suggested, ongoing 2014, 2015. But I think it unless we're prepared to say that we have reviewed all of these goals in the detail that last year's school committee did, and we think, you know, we want to have, rather than 4 goals, we want to have 11 goals. I just don't think it. I don't think it actually accurately captures what each school committee did. If we say, well, these are 2014 through 16, I think they're separate years, separate discussions, separate school committees. I agree that they're ongoing, but I hesitate.
As you might recall, 4 of the 6 of us who are here now voted and approved them.
That's right, that's right,
So
that's right.
the only remaining questions are whether Ms. Varela and Mr. Donahue would agree that we should adopt those goals as well.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we don't lose the focus on those goals. And I'm not a strict constructionist, so I think we could very well say that as a committee, we will adopt these or continue to focus on these as well as these additional goals.
Yeah, I don't, and Laura, I don't think if we say that these are ongoing goals and that and we append them to the goal to make sure that we continue to pay attention to them, and we do continue to pay attention to them. I don't think we need to say, I don't think we need to cloud the issue by just melding it all together for both years. But anyway, Ms. Varela, I think, had her hand up, or?
I'll just say, just for the record and for the minutes, that I would definitely support that the 2014-15 goals should be ongoing and supported, and make sure that, they are accurately carried out and, all that. So I definitely will commit to that.
Ms. Bagley-Jones.
I think that when I look at the 2014-15 goals, and there's 7, and I see 1, 3, 5, and 6 as what I would call rolling goals. They're continuing. 2, 4, and 7, I hope are done, or should be done, right? Complete a special education program review by calendar year December 15. Well, that's
Gonna happen.
I would suggest to you, well, we actually had an update on the status, but I would suggest to you that none of them have been completed yet. We have more progress on some than others.
right. So
And
what I was
and
trying to
think-
get is if we can separate out, not for tonight, but maybe we could sit down and go over them if you want, maybe, I don't know. But to say, okay, rolling a 3-year financial academic operations capital plan by July 1st, 2016, that's not going to be done, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
Hope so.
Okay, so maybe it would be helpful in looking at these, I'm used to plans that you have the goal, the timeline, who's going to do it, and what are the action steps. So I think these are great goals, all the things we've come up with, but then I feel like they get lost because we don't have, it's not clear to me what the action steps are. Since they're our goals, they have to be our action steps. We can't put them on the administration.
All right, so I think that may be a different issue. Again, I'll just say, I like to say these are the goals for this year because this committee came up with them. These are the goals for last year. They're ongoing. That's what my view is on this. Do we have a motion? Oh, wait a minute, Dr. Donahue.
Before we move to a motion, I will echo Sheila's comments that I do support these goals. I think they're important, and I think it's important that we not lose focus of them. I would echo Member Walker's comments that it's important that we. I feel as though it's important that we address them formally because, to a certain extent, we are bound by the decisions of prior school committees, but to a certain extent, we're not. And I think it's important that we continue to focus on these and commit ourselves to seeing them through. And to that extent, I wonder if a vote readopting them as rolling 2014 to 2016 goals would be appropriate because we would then bind ourselves to these goals.
All right, so Ms. Padera.
All right, I'll just say one, I'm in support of continuing those goals. I don't know if we have to I don't know if it matters if they're all on the same page. I don't know if it matters, as Mr. Walker pointed out, there's 4 of us that voted on them and we're committed to making sure that we see those goals through, so I don't see the danger in them getting lost. I don't know if it's really necessary to have a vote every year on whether we're going to continue seeing through any goals that haven't been completed. But if there's there seems to be a concern about that. I don't know if there is other goals that we've kind of dropped, or if we have to look back at, every goal we ever didn't do. But it just seems to be a little needless, but if people are concerned, I have, no problem. We could also just say with adoption of these 2015-16 goals, we are also looking at goals that are continuing from the 2014-15 year. If you really think we need to do that, I don't think that we do, but if there's a concern there, I'm fine with it. I think everybody at the table has said they're committed to them ongoing.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, when we look back, 5 years from now, and a school committee wants to find out what the goals were for a particular year under this policy, what were the goals for that year, and it comes up 2014, 2016 goals, it just might be a little confusing. And, so again, I think we're all committed to these goals, but it just seems to me it's a little bit more clear if we say, okay, these are this year's goals, these are last year's goals, they're ongoing, and it would be more clear to future school committees as to actually what we did, rather than kind of meld them all together. So that's my view of that. I don't know if we have a motion?
I have a motion.
All right.
I move that we adopt the documents entitled 2015-2016 goals and 2014-2015 goals as rolling 2014 to 2016 Milton School District goals.
So this is a motion in terms of what we're going to call them, or
It's a motion to make clear, for your purposes, that what happened in 2014 and 2015 and what happened in 2015 and 2016, that is, they were goals that were voted separately,
right,
but also an acknowledgement that we are now considering them as a complete list of goals that covers 2014 to 2016.
Okay.
I don't see any downside to it.
No, I'm just trying to think about the form of it, Leroy. Are we going to put something in the top that says, I'm just thinking about the form, and
So-
maybe we can work that out.
Yeah, I'm sure we can work that out.
Yeah, I just,
So you have the separate sheets,
Yep.
and then you have a title above it that
Yep.
says Milton School District rolling 2014 to 2016.
I don't have any objection to that. I mean, I think that's fine. If we put a little thing at the top and 2014 to 16 and then have the two
But
different pages.
that way, whenever we look at the goals,
Yep.
this sheet comes with this sheet.
Yep, I think that's fine. Yeah, how
As
do-
long as they're separate, that's,
Yeah, they'll be separate, they'll be
Thanks.
separate.
Separate, see?
But we haven't, just to make clear, we haven't
Yes, we have,
figured out the first goal yet.
but
Okay, all right.
We might add another one.
Right, and I don't know that we need a motion. I'll just, we'll prepare it that way, that it says, we'll prepare the title and we can,
Okay,
if there's a
I
problem.
have your word on that.
You don't need my word on it.
Okay.
You don't need my word. All right, so.
Thank you.
So we'll put a different title on it. All right. Anything else on goals? Thankfully, we are on to the Finance Subcommittee report.
Approval of vendor warrants. Dr. Pavlicek, do we have?
We had one vendor warrant since our last meeting that was signed off on.
Okay.
Hasn't been approved at a meeting.
That is number,
That was number 7. It was in the amount of $225,246.99, and it was dated August 13th. We signed off at the retreat meeting on August 7th, but never voted it formally.
is that the only one?
We'll have another one the beginning of next week. That's the only one we have for tonight. I will
Okay.
be calling you on Monday or thereabouts for another warrant.
Great. So I would move approval of vendor warrant number 7 in the amount of $225,246.99, dated August 13th, 2015.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? 5 in favor, Mr. Walker abstaining.
Next is the DESI Innovative Preschool Program Grant tuition. Do we have an attachment for that?
Yep.
Yes, we do. And so this is something that we discussed at our last Finance Subcommittee meeting and are now recommending that the full committee approve the request for a full-day preschool program with a tuition of $8,790 for the 2015-2016 year. This is largely resulting from a $200,000 grant that Senator Joyce was successful in inserting into the final budget, and probably had a lot to do with the tour that Ms. Padera took him on earlier in the year and wowed him, so he was so impressed that he said he would give us some money, and he actually did it. So in order to offset the program cost, we have set the tuition for a selected number of participants at $8,790 for the 15-16 school year, so we would recommend your approval. So I'm moving approval of that.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous.
Next is
Yeah, we had the
Physical.
addition,
issue.
No,
the budget,
the budget.
Oh,
the
right,
budget calendar.
right. Sorry,
Separate,
no.
same thing? Okay.
So, we actually have two schedules that we're asking you to approve this evening, and they are highlighted by red type and blue type. Through our chair, the selectmen requested that we provide an estimated contingent and non-contingent budget figure for fiscal 17 by October 1st. That is a very aggressive schedule, but fortunately, because of the 5-year planning process that we did last year, and Dr. Pavlicek did an incredible amount of work on that, so we have a list of assumptions that we can use to estimate costs over a multi-year period. So what we've proposed to do, and the Finance Committee discussed this, actually Chairman Zulus was present for both of those discussions, but what we decided to do was to use that 5-year planning model to create what I'm calling here the estimated bottom line budget figures, and then go ahead with the normal process that would have us submitting a budget to the warrant committee by December 1st. So the two deadlines are October 1st, by which we would provide estimated contingent and non-contingent budget figures to, I think, the selectmen and the town administrator, and then our normal budget process whereby we would submit a more detailed budget that we've approved to the warrant committee by December 1st. So I'm moving approval of this budget calendar for the fiscal 17 budget process.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. And, Ms. Bagley-Jones.
I'm sorry, who's on the finance subcommittee then?
Ms. Padera and I.
Okay. I take my hats off to you. This seems like a very ambitious, well-done
Yes.
calendar. September 30th, we would look at the estimated contingent and non-contingent bottom line figures, the school committee.
Wow.
What's today's date?
The 28th, no. Yeah.
Today is August
26th.
28th, so.
August 26th.
Sorry.
August 26th, yes, sometime in August. So, in a month, we would be looking at that.
Yes. Well, that's to meet the selectmen's request that we
Right.
submit something to them by
Right.
October
Mhm.
1st.
And when do you meet usually?
That's an interesting question.
Friday mornings, I believe, now.
What time?
9.
Are they posted as full school committee meetings?
Yeah.
They are.
Okay, So I might try to come to some, because I
Great.
wouldn't be in any position in a month to look at anything about
Fantastic.
hearing more.
We'll be very excited to see you.
Yeah, well, I didn't promise.
I'm just letting you know, there's no fresh scones like at Health and Wellness and smoothies. Finance is all business.
Right. It's all about the numbers.
Well, then.
Second,
All right. We have a motion that's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Oh, it's unanimous, sorry, it's unanimous. Okay.
Transportation.
Transportation and Traffic Subcommittee report. I think Ms. Varela has a handle on this, so
Yeah.
Ms. Varela.
I'll try to be brief because I know it's late. So, over the past couple of months, what the committee has been doing is, at the elementary level, we have assessed walking routes to each of the schools. We've met with our rep from the Massachusetts Transportation Department, and we've come up with the best, safest walking routes in each elementary school district. And the next steps that we're going to take with that is the PTO. I have asked, and Superintendent Gormley sent out an email blast to the PTO leadership, that if they could appoint transportation leads as part of their PTOs, and organize and work with and reach out and work with our Massachusetts transportation rep. Her name is
Jana Linhart.
Is it what it?
Jana Linhart?
Yeah. But she's very eager to meet with each school and work to put together more walking school buses. I mean, it's going to depend on each school and, put a committee together. But the best way to alleviate traffic problems is to have more walkers. So we're going to try to implement that more aggressively at each elementary school if we can. It's going to, it all depends on each community. But she's going to work with each school and put that together. So that's a big step that we're going to try to implement in the fall. And at the middle school level, we have been working with Dr. Spalding and the head of traffic for the Milton Police Department, Lieutenant Mark Alba, about putting together a new drop-off and pickup route at Pierce. So we have yet to formally finalize it and put it out there, but we're getting very close to that. And Dr. Spalding will be sending something out once it's concretely voted on and approved. Just a couple of minor tweaks we need to sort of address. But so those are the two big action items we've made at the elementary level and the middle school level. And right now at the high school, there really doesn't seem to be major transportation problems. So right now, that's kind of null and void.
Great, thank you. And thank you for all the work that you've done over the last few months, Sheila. Next on the agenda is the July 29th minutes. And so I will move for approval of the July 29th minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? 501, Mr. Walker abstaining. Old business citizen speak topic response. We don't have anything there. Next meeting agenda items. Do we have, for next meeting agenda items, do we have should we put a policy subcommittee report? Sure. And will that relate to any particular policies, or?
Several. I want to make sure I don't omit any, but at least 5, one of which includes the domestic violence leave policy.
Okay. And we'll circulate the list well before the meeting so that all the members have a chance to review it. Anything else for next meeting agenda items? Mr. Walker.
I'd like to have the consultant that we've engaged for the special education program review brief the school committee on the program review and give the committee the opportunity to ask any questions they might have.
Ms. Padera?
They've invited all this to the meeting.
The
May
night
I address
before.
that?
Ms. Gorman?
On the
Say
8th,
that
I
again.
believe that everybody's been in, the CPAC, the principals and the school committee have been invited to a meeting with the consultant, and I was going to ask for the agenda item to be for us to update. The school committee will be at that meeting on the 8th with the consultant, all the CPAC leadership, and the principals to hear the plan for focus groups, the plan for visits, to hear the feedback from the school committee, to hear the feedback from the CPAC, what they're looking for.
So if the intention is for us to participate in the meeting, to have discussion, then we should post that as a school
Yes.
committee meeting. Any objection to doing that? Any of the members?
No objection, but unless it's televised, I'd still prefer to have the consultant come here so that parents and other people, interested members of the general public, could hear the presentation.
Who was invited to that meeting at the 8th? Just
The 8th, school committee, school principals, and CPAC leadership.
All right, so we'll post the meeting on the 8th, and then on the 9th, we'll see if we can have the special education consultant come in.
Yes.
Anything further, any other next meeting agenda items? Seeing none, no citizens speak, and so now, executive session. I will move that we, excuse me, that we enter executive session for the purpose of reviewing minutes of prior executive sessions, and we will be not reconvening an open session after the end of that executive session.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? This is a roll call vote. Ms. Varela? You have to say yes.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Ms. Bagley-Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Zulish, yes. Ms. Padera?
yes.
And Mr. Walker?
Yes.
And Dr. Dilling?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned until September 9th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.